Hello again everyone, I'm Monito Bird or JC and welcome back to my channel. For those who are just new to my channel, again I'm doing these vlogs to share my experiences and journey as a new physiotherapist here in the UK and hopefully help other people who are in the same situation, especially those who are internationally trained. So today I'll be sharing with you about apprenticeship, which is part of my experience here in the UK before becoming a physiotherapist. This may be timely for those who starting their apprenticeships. I think this was the time when I had the news that I'll be starting my apprenticeship July. So what is apprenticeship is somehow, I don't know if this is the same terms with the other apprenticeship degrees, but with the experience I had in the physiotherapy apprenticeship, it's being able to work on your degree and study part-time while you're able to work also as a support worker. You'll have the benefits of being a student, such as a discount travel card, things like that, and some university or student discounts, things like that. Advantages is that you are supported on that by your, or sponsored by your trust or the workplace you're working with, and you're paid, so you're earning while you're studying, and as I've said, you're sponsored by your trust, so you're not paying anything for the degree you're taking. So that's the advantage. However, that's taking up a little bit more longer than the usual route of getting a degree. So for 3 years instead, it's 4 years. But it has, as I've said, those benefits. I've started hearing this when I was working here in the UK around 2017, and that's one of the benefits of being a CSP member, because you're updated with the news and progress in anything that's being promoted or campaigned by the profession. So one of that was the apprenticeship. So there were few apprenticeships before, but it was the physiotherapy degree was not one of them. So that's something that was worked out by the professional body here. So in 2007 I've started hearing about it and was able to be on it 2021, only in 2021. And when I had it in my trust, we were the first batch, so it was a learning curve for my trust. This is their first time doing this program as well in their trust, so it's a bit of chaos at first on the roles and how it's being managed by the service. It's probably part of the NHS long-term plan, because if you're familiar with the NHS long-term plan, one of the objectives there is to provide training and funding for training and development of the NHS workforce, and I think that's one of the results or the products of that objective. So they are providing apprenticeships in different trusts. So just to share my experience in having that apprenticeship, so there was an advert in your trust, and then I applied, and then there was interviews. So there was when you submitted your application, you had a first interview from the trust panel, and then after the trust has selected their choices, those choices will have another set of interview, which will be from the university who's going to provide the training for you, and then they will decide on their selection again. So for those successful applicants, depending on the agreement and how many are they, so they'll be the one to take up the apprenticeship program for 4 years. So the arrangement in my situation, it's 1 day in the university, and then 4 days working in my workplace. As I may just share, my contract and my schedule is working five days a week, in working days, so Monday to Friday. The 1 day on that week will be for my university, and the rest will be for working normal work. So even though it's a physiotherapy apprenticeship, you will still be working on your role. So in my case, it's a band 4 role, and so when you're working 4 days a week, you'll be in a band 4 role, and with doing the band 4 responsibilities. But when you're in the university or in your work placement, so you'll be assuming a student physiotherapist. Also depending on the conditions, because lately I've heard that the criteria now for getting into the apprenticeship, you should only be in the band 3 role, so they won't accept higher roles now. So check on that way on the advert if you're interested. And then, as I mentioned, there are work placements. When I say work placement, this will be the same term as clinical internships in other countries. So in my first year, there was a 4-week one placement only in the whole school year, and in the second year there was 2 5-week work placement, and I think on the third year it will be the same again. In the first year, it was in my workplace where I did the work placement, and the second was still within our services. So I was still able to rotate or be placed on a different department in the same workplace. But yeah, it depends on the situation. Sometimes you're working in a trust or in a workplace where you only have one department. Yeah, I think the university will support you on finding a work placement in a different trust. So that's that. And then the second year, we were, because there will be target areas of physiotherapy that you need to have experience on. So the second and third work placement in the second year, it was finding work placements outside my trust, but still this was worked on by my manager. So again, it depends with your university if you'll be supported with your work placement. Okay. I cannot share with you the rest of the work placements because I stopped on the second year, but as I've heard, that was the plan. And then yes, so you have also a study protected time that will be 3 hours per module, and that's my situation anyway. So I don't know with your arrangements with the university you'll be taking it. So yes, so as I've said, it's a learning curve for everyone. There was some some concerns or problems with who's assuming the roles, both from the university and from your workplace, on arranging things like coordinating and facilitating work placements, things like that. But I think if you're just learning about this and you'll be successful one day, I think that, and your trust has experience on this already, they might have procedures already and policies about this. So that will be a smoother run and management on you. For support workers who are planning to progress their careers, this is a very good route, especially those who wanted to work while still have a work while studying. It's a very good progression or way of developing your career. But just to say that it's a sacrifice of your personal time, because you're working and you're studying. So the times that you sometimes when you need to study, you won't be able to do that because you're working. So you it takes up your personal time. Yeah, as I've said, for support workers, it will be a good progression. For someone who's already, like in my situation, internationally qualified already, who's come to the UK and already working as a support worker, would it be good for you? It's up for you to decide. Just to take note as well, when you apply for the HCPC, there are standards that you need to meet, and some of the things there is like needing you to have worked or at least have experience, like for example some standards on autonomous working, clinical reasoning, knowing the healthcare system, research, things like that. If you think you can meet those standards, those domains in the HCPC standards, so you can qualify without doing the apprenticeship, then good for you. Or is the support worker experience is enough to gain those experience and to meet those standards, is good for you. But if you're someone who is still not confident on things and wants to learn more, or to learn the system here in the UK as well as their curriculum, so for those who lacks clinical experience, especially those who hasn't worked as a physiotherapist back in their home country or here in UK, so this will be a good option. Just to take note that you will be undergoing a screening, so the interviews from the university, so it depends if they will accept you on your current status, having a qualification at that. But I did, so that's a possibility already. So yeah, it's just a matter of deciding if it's something for you or not. Okay, so that's it for now. If you have any questions about the apprenticeship, please contact me. If you're already a CSB member and you wanted to have some help from me, you can check the CSB's mentoring scheme and look for my name. Thank you for watching my videos, and see you on the next one.